Welcome to the next episode of my show previews and reviews. This will be a preview of the NRHA Futurity. Pre-Futurity season is done. It finished at the end of October with the Southwest Reining Horse Association Futurity in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and the challenge out in Burbank, California. And this is going to be a rundown of my pick for the 30 horses I think will make the finals from 2 rounds. Now, I do not expect to be right. It's 3-year-olds. There's a lot that happens 2 go-rounds before you even get to the finals. Some of these might even not make the semifinals. This is just from what I've seen this year, the horses that I'm picking. I'm also going to have kind of a 3-tiered honorable mention deal, and I'm going to go through a few horses. I'll be reading off my computer, so if I'm not maintaining eye contact with the camera, don't mind me. But I've got about 50 horses total that I think are really cool that deserve mentioning. Some just because of the rider, some because of the horse. But here we are, and let's get started. All right, well, we'll start with a few of my honorable mentions that aren't going to be on my final 30, but I think are really, really nice horses and really, really cool. First, we'll start with Tracer Gilson and Up to Code. It's owned by Lauren Booth, an electric coat out of Darwin's Not Painted. I think it's a cool horse. It won't make the list in my list. I have 2 of Tom McCutcheon's mentioned. The one he was 3rd on in the go-round at Congress, Best Jack, who is a Jack's Electric Spark out of Snippetchecks, and Gold Star Gunner, who is a Gunner Special Knight out of Bellstar Dunnet. Both of them are owned by him and Mandy. My next one that I would mention in this category is also Pedro Bayo, who was 3rd out in Burbank over Halloween weekend. With Trashy in Hollywood. He's gonna trash you out. She's a Hollywood chick. Really cool horse. I don't know if it's enough, and it's an interesting thing. Mark and Kathy Gordon own that one. Really like that horse. Just not sure if it's enough for what will be a very tough level 4 finals to make. Next is one I have not seen in person. I've seen it on video twice, and that's Betting on Beth with Matt Palmer. It's sired by Wimpy Chick out of Chexie Dunnet and owned by David Weaver. I think it's a pretty nice little horse. Marked an 18.5 at Tulsa back in August. I'm a fan of the horse. Matt needs a mention. I think that's his best one, but that's where I'm at. Next on the list, we will go with a horse named Coming At Ya with Leo Kellerman, Andrea's assistant. It's a Spook's Got a Whiz. I do not know the mare, owned by Justin Palmer. I've seen this thing show. I like it. Not as much as his other one, though, and I'll get to that in a minute. My other one is the one Vaughn Zimmerman owns that Cole Price has, Let's Tear It Up. It is a Gunner Trash out of Wisdom for Checks. Marked an 18.5 also in Tulsa. It's going to be on this list of the shorter part of it. Next would be Jordan Larson for Kathy Driscoll on Betty Davis Eyes. It's a pale-faced Dunnet out of Mile Starlight. I've always liked this horse's potential. It looked really good at Rainbow by the Bay back in the summer, where it was a 17.5 and ended up 4th. And I think it's one of his 2 best. And just because he's had it longer, I'm trusting it more. I might be wrong on that. And my last one in this section, and these all have a legitimate shot to make it, but they're just not the ones I'm picking. My last one, and I'm picking him here because he's my buddy, is Chuy Chavez and Post Pallone. This is the best horse he's ever trained. He's done a great job with him. He's a pale-faced Dunnet out of Blaze by Commander, and he's owned by Electric Shiny Equine. He marked a 22 in Scottsdale in October, and he was 3rd on him at Rainbow by the Bay in July. This is a really cool horse, and I think Chewy might have a shot at winning the 2 or the 3, but I don't know if he'll put it together enough to make the 4. I'm hoping he does. I'm cheering for him, but that's where we're at. Next is my tier that I would not be surprised if any of these horses make it. In the way I have it kind of rated, it's that 31 to 40-ish range. It's that next 10 that if anybody slips up above them, they're in, as long as they don't make any mistakes also. It's a good group. It's proven group with riders. The horses have done different levels of success, but here we are. So I mentioned Leo Kellerman earlier on the other one. This is the one that won the challenge with Andrea riding it Its name is All Eyes Adore Her. It's a Gonna Trash She's Out of Your League, and it's owned by Archese. I think this could be the one that breaks through and makes it level 4 horse for Leo. But until he proves to me he's there, he's going to be in this tier. Shot to win the 3 for darn sure. But he's in this tier right below the Futurity horses. Next is Cole Price's 2 that I like the most. The one that Roseanne Sternberg owns. The Future is Bright, who is a Smart Ciccolina out of Ebony Shines, and Millionaire, who is Spook's Got a Whiz out of Miff's Doll owned by Michelle Kimball. Both those horses have shown flashes of a lot of talent. Have not won anything major yet, but once again, would I be surprised to see Cole showing them on Saturday night? No. I haven't seen enough from them to put them up in that top group that I've seen. Following that is Sean McBurney on Addie's Little Dream, a magnum out of Miss Little Attitude. Sean also owns this one. It was nominated by Toyon. I like this horse a lot, and it's probably the one I'm betting on, although Sean has 3 good ones. I'm just going to mention this one here because Sean deserves mention. He's been on fire all year, and I'd hate to leave him off my list, but I also haven't seen anything that makes me go, oh man, he's the one to beat this year. Next is Abby Langle with her own horse, Bring in the Heat, who's an Inferno 66 out of Tacky Dreams, I believe is what its name is. Sorry, I had to look closer at my thing. It's too small. It was 5th at the High Roller with a 19. It was 12th at Tulsa with an 18. I did not look up what it did at Southwest, but it has been a good show horse twice. I wouldn't be surprised to see Abby have a really good first go and put herself in position to be in the finals. Do not be surprised if she's in the semifinals with this one. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the finals. But like I said with everybody else, there's a group above them that's just a little bit more solid. I'm putting Brian Bell on here next just because Brian has to be on the list. He's deserved to be on the list. I'm not blown away by any of his horses like I have been the last few years. But that being said, that might make him more dangerous. I'm mentioning Vintage Wimpy here. It's a platinum out of Wimpy Seductress. It's owned by George and Carol Bell. It was 11th in Ocala with a 220.5 back in the summer. And once again, it's Brian. He very well could make the finals. He does it quite regularly, and I think he should be in the finals. Next is the only one of Cade's I'm not putting in my top 30, and that's Shot of 100 Proof. It's an Epic Titan out of Miss Brimstar, owned by Jennifer Greenleaf. Once again, it's Cade. If he puts all 3 in and he's first, second, and third coming into the finals, I wouldn't be surprised. But there's some really nice horses, and I had to bump a couple. Same thing with the next one. Jason Vanlandingham, Revolver 45. It's a Guns Over Shooting out of Revolutionary Juniors, owned by Bob Santagata. It was a 20 at Ardmore a couple weeks ago. I think it's a really nice horse, and it's got a shot, and Jason's riding it. It's always got a shot. But once again, the same story goes with this whole group. My next one is Jolene, the Little Joe Cash out of Pretty Wiz, Pretty Does, owned by the Jolene Partners for Kaci O'Rourke. Had a really good run at the NARS in Ocala, was 4th with a 22. This just isn't my favorite of Casey's horses, although Casey's proven that hers and Jack's horses look really, really good this year. So, and I have 2 more to mention here, and that is, we got to talk about Franco Bertolani, Conspiracy Theory 66, and Inferno 66 out of Mizen's Little Step, owned by Slide or Die. It won the first go at Denver, and it was 4th in the finals. Franco's got to be in the conversation even on his off years, and he's won a big prize this year already on it. That being said, I don't even know if this is his best one, but it's the one that won the most beforehand, so I'm putting it on the list. And my last one I think is going to miss the finals is Customized Vintage. Andrea Fappani, Sparkling Vintage, owned by Mark and Kathy Gordon. And it's not that I don't have any faith in Andrea, because I have a ton of faith in Andrea, and I honestly think this one could make it. It's just there's so many good horses that I've seen be a little more show horsey, although this one did mark a 23.5 at Scottsdale in October. So that's my list there, and now I'm going to jump into the top 30 and go one by one in alphabetical order, and we'll see if we can get through this whole video. We're going to start with Dakin Allred, Mr. Abracadabra, sired by Genetracia out of New Magic Cash and owned by Justine Leadham. Dakin is one I can't leave off the list. He peaks his horses at the right time. He gets them ready. He's got two really nice horses to show this year. I actually know the other horse better than I know this one, which is the Big Reputation that's owned by Campbell McLeod. And actually I like that one a lot, but for some reason my gut just tells me to go with this one. But either one of them Dakin could have in the finals, maybe both, just saying. But for my official picks, I'm putting the Abracadabra horse in there. I have more faith in the Genetrashas than I do in the Mr. Electric Sparks, although those are proving to be really, really nice horses. But for the level 4, the Genetrashas seem to have that little bit more oomph, and that's why so many of the top riders are riding so many of them now. Next up, I actually put in Franco Bertolani on Zephyr, who's an Inferno out of Chewy and Jules, also owned by Slider Die. Was a 17.5 in the first go at Denver, was a 17.5 in the second go, ended up second in both the first and the second goes there, in the first and the finals. And then was also 8th in Tulsa with a 219. It's Franco. He's going to have one right there near it no matter what. You're counting on him to be involved. That's why he's $1 million rider. That's why he's had so much success. I'm very much thinking that Franco is going to be there on finals night with something. It might be the other horse, but he's going to be there. Next is probably one of my favorite horses in the country, who could only be rode by about 4 or 5 people, and that's 007 and Gabriel Borges. He's a Gunner Done It Again out of Solidly Spirited, and he's owned by Lorenzo Mueller. This little horse does everything. He turns big, he stops big, he circles cool. He's little. And that's where a pen, very much like Oklahoma, like the Nork, will help, because he doesn't have to run as big and as long as, like, say, Cade or Woodside or Scottsdale. This little horse is one of my picks, and if Gabriel keeps his head on, he could darn sure be great. He was a 24 at Scottsdale the last time he showed him. He was a 21.5 and second in the Invitational, third in the Silva, but he was second in the Invitational. So this horse has already won a boatload of money. And I'm predicting Gabriel's going to make the finals on this one. I'm predicting he could darn sure be a dark horse to win it, if everything stays together. Once again, caveat on all these horses: if everything stays together, and especially somebody who's as young and hungry as Gabriel, I just hope he doesn't overdo it. His horse looks amazing. I talked to him at Burbank, actually, when he was schooling down there. He didn't show it down there, but he schooled him and told him how much I like this horse, and a lot of people do, and he does too. So I'm hoping that this works out for him. Up next is the guy I refer to affectionately as Mr. Pre-Futurity, is Brant. I'm gonna be low key, just because it's the one that seems to have the most top side of what I've seen. I wouldn't be surprised if any of his horses are here. It's a Genetracia out of Smart Oak Lynn, owned by Suzanne Cooper. He won the first go at the Congress. He was 5th in the finals, and he was 12th in Tulsa with a 218. Brandon is notorious for having great horses in August and September, and he's made the finals several times at the Big Futurity, but his Pre-Futurity horses look amazing. I'm hoping that this one holds through and looks as good as it did in the first go at the Congress as it does in the first go here in Oklahoma. I will be really ecstatic, and I'm really hoping and pulling for this one, because I love watching when Brandon's horses show good. I love watching them, and this is another one that I'm really excited about. Up next is my outsider for this group in terms of not a regular level 4 rider, and that's Jack Daniels on Mambo's Dream Girl. So we saw Kaci show this one in Ocala, marked 21.5 on it. And we saw Jack just marked 24 on it in Ardmore. It's a Magnum owned by Peter and Courtney Morgan. I really like this horse. I really like the way Jack showed it in Ardmore. Jack is my pick to win the level 1, honestly. And I think he could make the finals and put himself in position to win both the low levels. And if he's in the finals in the Open, who knows what's going to happen. But I don't know Jack at all, but I've watched this horse on video. On video, she comes through dynamic. She, not he. And I'm really excited to see what this pair does at this event. Up next is last year's champion, Casey Deary. I put all 3 of his horses in, and I'll start with Time in a Bottle. An In Like Flynn out of Surprising the Princess, owned by Amy Meadows. Was 3rd at the Congress in the finals. Other than that run, I've not watched this one. If Casey chose it, it's a good one. Casey has to show the best because he's chasing the boys. He's chasing Andrea. He's chasing Shawn, although he might be on level with both of those guys now. I haven't seen the one this year that blows me away like 1030 last year or like Maverick did his 3-year-old year even. But that being said, it's Casey. He's one of the best. He's going to come loaded. His second horse is Flynn Gonna Mark Ya, and In Like Flynn out of ARC Gonna Mark Ya, owned by Justice Performance Horses. That one was 9th at High Roller, 12th at Tulsa, and marked in 18 at both. If he marks 19, if he just ups just a little bit and marks 19.5, 20s in the finals and gets a big check, and then Casey on one run, he's going to put the hammer down. We're going to see what happens. And then the last one is the one that came out of the dark for him because I don't think it was on his list until he got it. Took it home from Tulsa, I believe. And that is the Magnum Chick out of Gonna Be Custom, named Customize My Dream, that Devin Warren owns, and Devin Warren trained. Casey shown it. Casey rode it at Southwest and marked 28 on it and won Ardmore. We've seen this thing be dynamic. We've seen it be really cool. It's coming in with momentum. My question is, has Casey had it long enough? Yes, he's had it since August, but in reality, I know Casey likes to have his horses a little longer than that usually, but it worked at Ardmore, so it might very well work here. So we'll see. I know Casey's going to be smiling, happy, and do his deal, and his horses are going to look good. So let's see what happens. Next up is Andrea Fappani. I got 2 of his in my top 30. I've got Mic Drop, owned by Clark Reining Horses. It's a Spook's Got a Whiz out of Dundry Whiz. Was 12th in Tulsa with an 18 in the Silva, not in the Invitational. And then won the Best of the West in Scottsdale with 27.5. This thing is very, very talented. It's like a lot of Spook's Got a Whizzes. It has the talent, it has the moves, it has everything you want in a show horse. And it came to the party at Scottsdale in a big way. Kind of think this might be his best one if it wasn't for the fact that I've been picking this other horse since the beginning of the year. I saw him ride this one in February, and I said that's your Futurity winner if it goes right. I'm not as confident in it now as I was then. That being said, it's proven to be a show horse, and that's going to run and slide. Tim Anderson owns the Gun Trash out of Stop Little Sister. Won Vegas with a 24.5. Could have marked it higher or lower, it doesn't matter. It was the best run that night by quite a bit. And this is the one that I've been watching since the beginning of the year, one of the 2 actually. And I think this one very well could be Andrea's next Futurity champion. But I said that last year about both of the ones he showed, and he ended up tying himself for second. So I would expect to see this one near the top of anything. And like I said, it's 3-year-olds, so they could surprise us either way. I'm hoping it's for the good, but we'll see. From number 1 all time to number 2 all time, next on the list will be Shawn Flarida. We're going to start with Snowgun's Last Dream, a Magnum Chick Dream out of Snowgun, owned by Mark Scholes. Was 15th at Southwest in Ardmore with a 20.5, and was 4th back in Ocala in July with a 22. We know this horse has got the moves. We know it looks the part. want to see it put together everything it's capable of. If it makes those 2 runs again, it'll make the finals. Probably won't win the whole thing though. That being said, if anybody's going to step it up, it's going to be Shawn. Excited to see what this one does, based mostly off the breeding. I love Snowgun as a broodmare, and some of the stuff she's produced, including Electric Snow, who I'm a big fan of. The other one is probably most people's odds-on favorite based on just how it's bred, and that's Andy Mo. That's owned by our Chaseys, by NRHA, out of Wimpy's Little Chick. On breeding alone, this thing's the best horse in the field. It's proven it circles and turns just as good as almost anything there is in the country. It won the Congress with a 28. If it looks better than it did at the Congress, which it probably will, it's going to be tough to get around. There are other horses on this list I personally like better, but I'm not going to count this one out until it's done and they call it score. That's the only way I'll count it out, is once it's run, the score is counted, and the checks have been signed. Beyond that, I mean, Shawn's always a favorite, and his third one might get in too, but those 2 I think are real threats to make this, and I really think they're going to be my top 30. Next, we'll get into Arno Honstetter, and I'll Show You a Good Time, sired by Show Your Guns and out of Lacerda. Arno also owns this one and was just second at Burbank in the challenge with a 148. This thing's a stopping machine. Now, that being said, I like this horse. I think it stomps big. I think it's enough to hang with the boys. Arno is going to punch his ticket on 1, is my guess. I don't know which horse. I'm picking this one because I saw it most recently. I saw it in person, and it's the one that wowed me of the 3 that he's showing. I'm very excited to see this, and I'm curious to see how it works. I'm pulling for Arno. I'm hoping he's going to make it, and I'm hoping he proves me right, or proves me wrong and gets 2 in, but this is the one I'm picking for him. My next one is a pick coming from another continent, and that's Joao Lacerda and Gunner Diamond Again. A Gunner Done It Again out of Rock This Diamond, owned by Andrea Fappani. I just found out about this horse recently, even though it showed at the big pre-futurity in Brazil a couple months ago and marked 28.5. I wasn't paying attention to it until I was going down the list and I saw, oh, Joao's coming to the States. He must have something really good. Started looking up the horses on the advice of a friend of mine. Watched this run, and now he's my pick to completely upset the balance of everything. This horse looks amazing. It's a big stopper. It's a bigger turner, and it's an amazing circler. This one's an outside shot. When I say outside, I mean from the outside of the country shot to win the whole thing. His other horse looks really good too, but this is the one that's proven itself, and I'm curious to see how it comes over and acclimates to the States. So we're in for a show with this one for sure. Keep that one in mind, Gunner Diamond Again. And I'm going to link the run from Brazil to the description in this video so that you all can go to that video when you're done with this one. Next, we'll get our Australian representative in, as Martin Larcombe and Vincent Van Wel make my list. A Spook's Got a Gun out of FM Master Tag Checks and owned by Martin Larcombe and Andrea Costa. This one was just second at Ardmore with the 26. This might be a little recency bias. I always have to put Martin penciled in for 1 at a finals nowadays. He's always there. He's very much solid citizen. He's going to show up. He's going to do well. You are going to have a hard time getting around him, and that would be a good, solid choice to make the semifinals for sure, the finals likely. Next, I'm pulling out one of the best mechanics in NRHA history, Duane Latimer. And although he's got 3, and I've liked all 3 of them, the one I'm picking for him to make it on is CS Especially Moody, Gunner Special Night out of Judy's Little Moody, owned by XCS. It was second in Tulsa with a 22. I just think Duane is going to have 1 there, and this is the one that's proven itself the most as a show horse. The Wiz for Roxanne Copsole could also be there, but I'm predicting this one. And it's Duane. It's going to be mechanically broke. It's going to be solid. It's going to be ready to go. The question is, how much is it going to push? How much is it going to be ready to go? how much is it going to be ready to step up that next level, I mean. And Duane's usually answers that question very well. We will see as we go forward how well he does. Next, I'm going to talk about the Run for the Million fan favorite, Jordan McBurney, and her Sweet Dreams, a Magnum Chick Dream out of Dunnet in Continental, owned by Rhodes River. This horse was fourth at High Roller with a 219.5, excuse me, and won the Low Roller at Nampa with a 219. Jordan's on a roll. Her horses have looked really good. I saw this one at Rainy by the Bay where it also marked a 19. It was second there. And I watched it on video at Vegas. This one looks the part. I think it's going to be really cool. The Magnum chicks are usually solid citizens. Expect this thing to be in that 2021 range in both go-rounds, and expect Jordan to make the finals and put a run at it, because you know how she is once there's a one-go deal. And once you're in the finals, it's one run for all the money. So I wouldn't put anything past Jordan, and she could be a pick to cause some trouble in that upper echelon of this deal. Next, we'll go to the 2019 champion, Cade McCutcheon. I have two for him making it. One of them is CC Gun Show, who's a Colonel Shannon gun out of Wimpy's Eye Candy that's owned by McCoy Stables. Was a 19.5 in Tulsa, was a 22.5 in Scottsdale in October. This one looks really ready. It's got all of the high-end talent it needs, and I'm a big fan of Cade in the show pen. I think he's one of the best showmen in our generation, actually the generation behind me, because he's that much younger than me. But big fan of Cade. I think this could be another run to the top for him. Although I think, and most people would say, his other horse that I'm putting in here, Lost in the Trash, a Gonna Trash out of Lost in Tinseltown that Tim Anderson owns, might be his best bet to win it, as it was a 23.5 at Southwest, and it won Ocala the 26 in July with a 226. This one we've seen be really, really dynamic, be really, really good. I think Cade is on the threshold of winning his second Futurity. That being said, there's some really good competition this year, but he's proven before he can step up to the moment when it happens. Let's see if he does. My next victim is Matt Mills. Walla Be a Big Star. It's an ARC Gonna Be a Big Star out of Smart Little Walla. It's owned by the Ruckmans. Garrett Thurner trained this one, and they sold it to the Ruckmans after Tulsa. I believe Garrett was second. He won the level 2 on it, I believe, at Tulsa. And then Matt showed it. It was a 24 at Ardmore. Went early in the draw. Probably would have placed a little better if he'd been later, to be honest. He had a great run there. And this is kind of like Gabriel. It's another one that, if everything holds together, it could be lethal. This horse has all the talent. We know Matt is the showman that he is, and he is capable of being great. If he pulls it off, that's awesome. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. We've seen great horses have bad runs and be unfortunate. That being said, I just have a feeling that Matt's going to pull it off on this one. I think this horse is absolutely enough talent. I think Matt is hopefully in the right front of mind to show off his talent, and we'll get a nice exciting run out of Matt in at least the first and second goes, and hopefully the third go as well. If he makes the finals, I wouldn't put it past him to be in that top 5 or 6 and threatening the top. He's definitely got the pedigree for it. So we'll see. The next person I'm going to talk about is another $1 million rider. It's Martin Muehlstaetter. I have him making the finals on 2. The one is listed on my list as Roll Out the Red Carp. I believe that's Roll Out the Red Carpet, but it might be Roll Out the Red Carp. I'm not sure. It's by Spoo's Got a Whiz and Out of Shiny and Sassy. So another double Futurity champion breeding on it. Owned by Sarah Nimigan. This one was a 25 at Scottsdale and was second, tied to be second there. This horse is cool. I've watched this one pretty closely ever since I heard about it from some people, and I watched him show it at Scottsdale and was really excited about it. The other one is the horse named Spooks Ghost Rider. It's Spooks Got a Whiz out of Got Cash in My Jeans, owned by Madeline Roberts. And it was fourth at Scottsdale with a 24.5. These two horses, I'm super, super excited about what Martin's going to be able to do with them. Martin is one of the funnest people to watch show horse when he's got something that he trusts. And he's also got a guy in Tinseltown that I think is a really cool horse too. It's just, if I had to pick two, I'm picking these two. That being said, if he makes the finals on all three, I wouldn't be surprised. But Martin, when you get him in that situation, all the pressure's off because he's already in the finals, and he gets to just go for it. One of the most entertaining people to watch show horse. I'm excited for it. I really hope he makes it. I really hope we get to watch it because it will turn this event up a notch in terms of entertainment value for the audience. Next is my pick for Kaci O'Rourke, and I'm putting Slick Tricks in here. This thing turns a one both ways and can circle and can stump. It's a tricked out spook out of Two Spook to Drive, owned by Clark Reining Horses and Pond Hill Performance Horses. She's been near the top everywhere she's been. She was fourth at Southwest. She was third at the Invitational, fourth in the Silva with a 20.5. She's been really amazing this year on this horse. I think it was good. I think she showed this one in Ocala too. I think it was good there. I might be wrong on that though, so that one don't quote me on because it's not in my notes, so I don't think it was there. But this horse, when I've watched it, this little bay horse is so cool, and it's going to be a very big time horse for her. We've seen her show. We know she can do it. We've seen everything start building in that program and seen Kaci and Jack both step up a little bit. And I think this is Kaci taking a leap forward because this horse is cool, and it's the type of horse that will let her step to the next level and hopefully teach her enough that she's going to be able to keep doing this repeatedly, because this is probably on the list of the best horses she's ever had, and I'm excited for her chances with this one. Next up is Fernando Salgado. I'm going to start with FS Inferno, and Inferno 66 owned by Gilberto Leal. This is the horse that won the Invitational in the Silva Futurity at Tulsa with a 222.5. He was 8th in Ocala with a 21. This one has proven to be a show horse. He's proven to be a very top-level horse, and it's ready. I mean, Fernando wouldn't be taking it if it wasn't ready. It's a really cool-looking horse. I think it's got a chance to be his first Futurity champion. The emotional pick here is Spooks Gotta Win, who's owned by Eduardo Salgado. And any of you who know that with Eduardo's recent unfortunate passing, this horse by Spooks Got a Whiz and Out of Murata Shining was 225 at Scottsdale, tied for second. And there's a lot of us who will be cheering for Fernando to go win it on this one specifically. Not against anybody else. It's just one of those things that the story beats the horse sometimes, and we look for it. We look at this and go, that's kind of the thing that would be just in this world almost. So we know there's going to be a lot of support for him. And me personally, I'm speaking for myself now, hopes that Fernando gets a really good run on this horse, at least to make the finals. So I'm a little biased on that one, but pulling for that horse, and especially Fernando. So I'm hoping he gets to get a shot at his first win this year, and he's right in that hunt for it. On a happier note, let's get to Mr. Consistent, Craig Schmersal. I got two of his making the finals. I've got Shineaholic, the Wimpy Needs a Cocktail out of Extra Made to Shine, owned by Sheridan Schmersal Partnerships. He was a 22 on it at Scottsdale. Recently, he won the finals at Denver and was third in the first go with a 17. He was a 17 in the first go and a 20 in the finals to win it. It's Craig. He's going to be solid. He's going to go be 222 to 225, depending on how they're marking, but somewhere in that range. And if things fall his way, he's going to win it. And if they don't, he's going to be third. Like, that's just Craig. He's going to be in that hunt of that top 6 or 7 guys every year. Never makes a mistake. He'll be right there and ready to grab it. The other horse I have in is Magnum with Attitude, a Magnum Chick Dream out of Done with Attitude, owned by Bruce Cofoot. He was a 21 on it just recently at Southwest. He was a 21 on it at High Roller and was second there behind Andrea. Another one. I think this one might have the same kind of upside. Might be even more consistent than the one of than the Wimpy Needs Cocktail. But it's Craig. I wouldn't be surprised to see both these horses in the top 10, maybe both of them in the top 6 or 7. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him even be first and sixth, somewhere in that range. But that being said, not my ultimate pick, but always a safe bet. If you're betting on placings, he's always a safe bet to be near the top. My last rider with multiple horses is Dany Tremblay. I'm going to start with The Assassin, a Shiner's Voodoo Doctor out of Jerry's Sippin' Soda, owned by Showstoppin' Stables. Tongue twister there, guys. The Assassin is one of those horses that has shown flashes of brilliance. I can't leave him out for that reason, because he's shown so much brilliance. Even though his best, he's not been at the top of anything really. He's been kind of in that middle range at all these series. This horse has so much top end that if Dany gets it honed, which I'm counting on, he's going to be in the finals. And I would not be surprised to see Dany in the finals on this one, and actually the other one too, which is Where Fun Meets Flavor, who's a PS Megashine chick, he's by Crush, and out of Starbucks Deja Vu, owned by Troop, quarter horses. And this one was a half point higher at Scottsdale, or at Ardmore, not Scottsdale. But I've seen, it's one of Dany's. It's got talent, it's got pizzazz, it's got that high end. If it locks together and shows, it's going to be in the finals. It's going to be those 21 and 21 and a half that he marked at Southwest. If he marks that all day long at Oklahoma, he's going to be in. And I think these horses both are capable of that, and I think they're both capable of more, especially the one, the Voodoo. I think that one is capable of being a 26 if Dany lines it out. So we'll see where that goes. Last but not least, Jason Vanlandingham on Ruffalicious, sired by Not Rough at All out of Magnalicious and owned by Von Zerman. This horse is that 4 to 10 range in terms of talent in this pool. It's not the one I would say, oh my God, that's the most talented. It's the otherworldly freak of the bunch. It's a really, really good horse that is capable of beating those horses that I think are more talented on just pure horse run, the single run deal. I think this is Jason's best one. It's proven to be a show horse. It was a 20 and a half at Tulsa. It was a 24 at Ocala. That puts it second at the North American, third at the Invitational. This horse has been, he's proven he's there. He's a show horse. He's all the things that you want to be a show horse. Jason's going to put the hammer down and show this thing. He's going to be in the finals, barring a catastrophic mistake or a catastrophic, 3-year-old thing happening. This one will be in the finals. And come finals night, Jason's going to show it the best he can. He's going to go be a 24 and a half, 25-ish. And if that's enough that night, he's going to win it. And if it's not, he's going to be about 4th. That's my prediction for this one. And I'm being a little cocky with that, but it's Jason. I can count on him to be that, depending on the scale of where the judges are that night, he's going to be near the upper end of it, is what I'm saying, no matter what. And I'm really looking forward to it. Well, that's the 30 I'm picking to make the finals. And now I'm going to give you my bonus little section here at the end, which is my 5 horses to watch. 3 of them being my 3 favorites to win the whole thing. 2 of them being my dark horses that I think could bring somebody up to the top without trying that hard. My first choice is obviously, since February, I've been telling people about this one, and that's Gonna Run and Slide, the Gonna Trash You that is owned by Tim Anderson that Andrea is showing. I think that's an amazing horse. It's well broke. Andrea's bringing it. It's prepared. It's probably my outright favorite, but there's 2 others I'm watching that very closely. The next one is Andy Mo, Shawn Flarida, that's owned by Archese. It's another Gonna Trash You, Wimpy's little chick. Won the Congress. This one it's Shawn. You can never count him out. It's likely his best one. It's definitely his most heavily marketed one. Everybody knows the horse. And usually when Shawn wins Congress, he's a threat to do something big. So that would be my number 2. And my number 3 is Cade McCutcheon on Lost in the Trash. Another Gonna Trash out of Lost in Tinseltown this time. Cade's proven he can win at the highest level. When he has the right horse, he is as good as anybody in that block from the time he hits the gate till the time he walks out. That being said, I think Cade is my least of these three. He's the hardest time to win it, I think. But that still, I'm picking him third out of 400 and something horses. I think he's got an incredible shot compared to a lot of people, and that's what the horse flesh that he's got under and his ability to hold his nerve. I'm looking at that, and I think those guys are going to do great. Now, my dark horses, I got two of them for you, and because I can't pick between them, and I mentioned them both in their individual deal when I went down the horses. Number one is Gabriel Borges on 007. If Gabriel keeps his head in the game and shows his horse as well as he can, that horse can hang with almost anybody. My concern is the little horse's size for his endurance. That being said, I know he's in shape. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the size and the having to run the circles the way he's going to have to run them in the finals. My other dark horse, and this is more of a feel-good pick, is Spook's Got to Win and Fernando. I just want that one to do well, and I'm openly cheering for it. Everybody is. I might be smarter to pick the FS Inferno, but I'm going to pick Spook's Got to Win. So those two are my dark horses, and I'd love to hear some conversation. I know I left people out. I know people are going to be mad at me that I left them out. And it's not that I don't care, but I have to narrow it down to 30 horses, and I went through all 400 horses and picked who I thought would make the finals, and guess what? I'm going to get maybe 10 of them right, and I know that. But it's a fun game to play. So give me your picks on winners, outside horses I forgot that I should have mentioned, and let's have a conversation both here on YouTube, on Facebook, anywhere you see this video, let's have this conversation. So I'm signing off now, and I will see you all at the Futurity. Have a good night.